Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and I was invited by Christine Meyer to take part in her Crafting with Black and White Pattern Paper series. And I'm super excited to be here. And I decided for my video I was going to do cards, and I was also going to create my own black and white background. So I have some really special embellishments and a sentiment that I die cut from gold cardstock, and I really wanted a pretty delicate black and white background to match them, so I decided to create it myself. That Maggie Holmes puffy heart is my absolute favorite, and this is a die from Simon Says Stamp that I cut out of gold cardstock. So I decided that I was going to pull out some black cardstock and emboss it and then add some white on top to create a really just elegant look. So I'm using the Tim Holtz Distress ink. It's called Picket Fence. And I have a Tim Holtz blending tool as well, the mini round one. And then I have some shimmer spray that just adds a touch of sparkle on top. You don't need this. I just really like that it adds that fun extra little bit of shimmer. So I'm also going to die cut that down to a panel. So the first thing I'm going to do is emboss. So I grabbed my Sizzix and I have my embossing sandwich ready to go here. And I have black cardstock. This cardstock is by My Mind's Eye. So it's really extra thick, which is going to give you a great impression for your embossing. It's also smooth, so you're going to get a really smooth layer of the white pigment ink, the Picket Fence ink. I have these great We Are embossing folders. I love their embossing folders. They're really, really well made, and they have a really deep impression that they provide. So you get a lot of detail from this. So I'm going to emboss to every edge of this cardstock. So I've cut the cardstock smaller than the embossing folder. And these embossing folders are pretty large. I think they're 6 by 6. So I'm going to put my cardstock in the middle inside and run it through my Sizzix machine. And when it comes out, you can just see this gorgeous pattern that it's created. So I'm going to apply the ink to the side that has lots of embossed pieces. The other side has some as well, but there's more debossing going on. This side I think has more embossing because it's got the little dots and the flowers that are raised. So the next step is to apply the ink. And like I said, I'm going to grab the side that has smaller elements that are embossed because I want the ink to sit on those elements. It will not sit on the lower debossed images. And so I think this is the best side. It's going to look very elegant and pretty. So I'm using, again, the Tim Holtz Distress Ink Picket Fence. This is a specialty pigment ink. It's not quite a pigment ink in that the ink pad itself is not a foam pad, and it's not super, super thick. It blends really well, so it's perfect for this technique. So I'm going to go in a circular motion and just start applying the ink to the embossed side of the cardstock. And you can already see how cool an effect you get. You really get to see that embossed image that comes clear when you apply the ink to the black cardstock. And I think that's a really fun effect. And so I'm looking at it just to make sure I have enough ink. I see some dark spots here, so I'm going to go back in, grab a little bit more ink on my blending tool, and apply that. And once I get it pretty much so that you can see the entire pattern, I do go in and I do the edges a little bit, but I'm not really going to worry about that too much because I am going to die cut this down to a smaller panel that's perfect for my card. So that I think is perfect as far as white and black, and you can see the pattern is just amazing. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of shimmer spray. Again, this is a step that you don't have to do, but it's a lot of fun and it really adds a lot of just shimmer without dealing with glitter or loose glitter, things like that. So the further back you go, the lighter it's going to be. The closer in you get with the spray, the heavier it's going to be. So I usually pull back as far as I can at first and then maybe go in again with some extra spritzes to really get that shimmery effect. And you can see that there. It almost looks metallic now. So that's just a great shimmer spray to use. Okay, now I have my panel. It's dry. I just let it air dry. I guess you could heat dry it if you wanted, but I just let it air dry. And I have the second to largest rectangular stitched rectangle die from Lawn Fun. I'm going to link everything down below that I used. I have a magnet platform here, so it just snaps right to it. And I'm going to run this through my Sizzix once again, just so that I can get a smaller panel, and the whole thing is embossed, covered with the ink and shimmer sprayed as well. So there's my card panel, and that is all ready to go to start putting our card together. So the next thing I'm going to do is take this gold cardstock, and I know that this die looks very big, but it cuts a very delicate shape. So the best way to apply adhesive is to use Thermoweb Easy Cut iCraft Easy Cut Adhesive. This is a double-sided permanent adhesive. What you do is you pull off that release paper there that reveals one side of the adhesive, and you lay it down on the back of your cardstock. You just trim off the edge there. I shouldn't have pulled off the whole release paper, but it's fine. You just cut it off with a scissor. It doesn't have to be perfect. And now my gold cardstock is a sticker. And it's funny, you can see me and my inks there a little bit. And I'm going to cut this with that really pretty thanks die from Simon Says stamp. So I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. And once it comes out, then I have a sentiment sticker that is gold foiled cardstock. And all I have to do is peel it off, and then I can lay it right down on my project. So next I'm going to use the Thermoweb Memory Runner XL, and I'm just going to apply it to the back of the panel. It's fine that it's embossed. It's going to stick just as well with the Memory Runner, which is a really great adhesive. And I'm going to lay that down on a card base that is 4¼ by 5½. And I'm going to use this as a side folding card rather than a top folding card. Next, I'm going to peel off that die cut from that second layer of release paper. And I'm going to do this pretty carefully because I have been known to rip my sentiments and have to start over again. But there we go, I got it off, and now it's a sticker. Like I said, that's what's great about the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive. So now I can just lay it down on my card, and I don't have to fuss with the back of it, adding adhesive to tiny little spots. So once I have it where I like it, I can press down, and then I can add my Maggie Holmes gold puffy heart. And now this card is done. And I really love the way the black and white background pairs with the gold, and it just looks so elegant and beautiful, but it was really simple to put together. So this was the original card that I made, but I did make a couple of other samples as well, and I just wanted to show them to you real fast. I used some more We Are Memory Keepers embossing folders. This one is the really three-dimensional one, the gemstone. So I cut out of Fun Foam a heart that looks like a gemstone, and then I cut out this love ya little sentiment from Lawn Fawn, and I love the pink on the black and white background. Then I decided that I wanted to try something with a real pop of color instead of a white card base. So I have this yellow cardstock in the back. I die cut from the same cardstock this thanks sentiment. This is also from Simon Says stamp. And then I used an older Lawn Fawn stamp and die set to cut out this sunflower for the middle, which I popped up on three-dimensional adhesive. And the whole thing is on another We Are Memory Keepers embossed background that's hexagonal. So I don't know if you can see there, but I also used some Nuvo crystal drops on the tiny little elements of the sunflower just to give a little extra dimension. So there's 3 different ways that you can use black and white backgrounds that you create yourself using embossing folders, black cardstock, and pigment ink. So if you haven't already, I hope you'll go over to Christine Meyer's YouTube channel. I'm going to link to that as well, and check out all the different techniques and projects that she has created with the black and white pattern papers. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and have a great day.